Hey guys, John here. It's another day in Northeast Pennsylvania and I'm working on this old Junkyard Caddy. Anyway, so what I've got here is I got on this side, I had a dent in this door and I put some putty on it and I'm going to start sanding it off and see what it's going to turn out looking like. So I've got 2 coats of putty on this spot right here. There's a dent right around here somewhere and a dent over here and I just smeared over it. And I've got my 40 grit on my board, kind of a wore out piece, and I forgot to stop and get new sandpaper, so I'm kind of an idiot about that, but let's give it a try anyway. So I put this on here a couple days ago, and it is hard. So it's hard to sand. It's taking me a bit. I've got half of mine to go to that random orbital sander I have. Grind it off kind of quicker, but maybe I'll keep my patience, keep sanding here. Let's see. All right, I'm hitting metal here already. Not here yet, which means that's low. I can see it already. Well guys, this is what it looks like. Low spot, you can tell by the discoloration. Sandpaper on this board did not hit this spot, so that's definitely got to be low, right? Makes sense. Because I'm hitting steel here, I'm hitting steel here. Probably would hit steel here pretty quick. Yep, that's what we got here. Okay, so right here we got, it's still low. Here it's a little low. Here it's not feathering out. I'm hitting steel here, I'm hitting steel here. So up here, it looks, I could just feel that edge, so that I get spot putty. I gotta put some more filler there, actual fill. And on this side, I left off over here, you can see where the low spots are. Now, last thing I did before I left the other day is I tamped this back. I got this edge fairly good. It's not perfect, it's still got a little flare here. I'm not gonna panic over that. I just don't want the door to be all ripply. So I gotta get rid of this little guy. And probably what I'm gonna do, there's like a low spot right here, which is weird. What I'm gonna do is take putty and just fill right across the whole thing and then sand it out again. Okay guys, I'm starting to sand the roof off. I just wanted to show you this. So this has 2 heavy coats of that Kirker primer surfacer. It's the 2K stuff. And I'm just starting to sand it. I'm going to sand it out with some 220 grit right there, 220 grit. And I got this paper at Lowe's, believe it or not. I happened to be there, so I grabbed this paper. I'm going to see how it holds up. So far, it's holding up fairly good. But as you can see, I've got it pretty much done through this spot here. You don't see any of the modeling. Like maybe you can see it on the film there. You can just barely see it. It's like a modeling. You can still see where it's not sanded down far enough. Now over here where it's not sanded at all, I got dust and dirt, but you can see how it went down. It looks like an orange peely coating on it, you know? It's just orange peely. I'm gonna get rid of the orange peel and then I'm gonna go over it again with some 320 grit and then guess what? We're gonna spray some black acrylic enamel paint on it. I know acrylic enamel, everybody likes the urethanes now, but you know what? Back in the day I did acrylic enamel, I always liked it. I liked the way it turned out, and that's the way I liked it. You know, it's more apt to chip and things like that, I think, but let's face it, I'm not going to be driving this through the woods or nothing. It should hold up fairly well. Plus, it was pretty reasonably priced. I'm getting red. I got 2 gallons of red, and I think it was like, you know, I think it was $300 for 2 gallons. So red tractor paint. Of course, this will be black. I got the same exact paint in black, you know, a jet black. So we'll see how that all turns out. This is the acrylic enamel too. This is the exact same paint. And it really does look pretty nice. It's kind of like candy. So we're going to roll with it. All right, I'm almost done sanding this thing out with the 220 stage. And I had a big dig here, but you know what? Sanding it took it out because that's basically the idea is a couple heavy coats of this primer surfacer and then take most of it all away and then just, you know, leave all the gaps and holes and everything filled. I am using a little block, which is helping out. It's got a little soft to it. Got it at Carlisle a couple years ago and it seems to work pretty good. I'm able to hold on to the sandpaper. I just like to figure out how to get to use this edge of the sandpaper because that's really my handle. I'm only wanting to use that edge. Maybe I'm just too cheap. Anyway, that's what's going on with that. So as you can see, I've got a spot here where I'm pretty much thoroughly sanded here with the 220. I took all the orange peel. Here it's getting orange peely again and more orange peely here. And over here I haven't sanded yet, but you can see all the dust that's cropping up. It's pretty heavy dust, so it's staying down. I'm not worried about wearing a mask right now. I'm just doing it by hand. And it goes pretty quick. I don't think there's any need to use a machine on this. I kind of like doing it by hand and just going straight back and forth because no swirly marks. You know, there's not going to be any swirly marks marks that you'll be able to see in the paint. So I kind of think that's a good way to roll. I'm going to finish sanding this out. Yeah, I might even get this thing painted today. That would be phenomenal. That's 3 words from Paul Abdul. All right, so I just sanded off the roof, and I think it gave this enough time to harden up enough to where I can sand it without plugging up the sandpaper. In fact, I know it did. It's actually already getting a little bit hard. I probably put a little too much hardener in it. What are you gonna do? Let's hit it with the board. Let's see if we can find the low spots. Already starting to see some. Of course, these aren't all gonna be low spots. These will sand out, I think. This one, I think, is gonna be a problem. Okay, it looks like there's more than meets the eye. It's got to be low here. I'm hitting steel here, and this is still ragged. I'm going to need a little bit more putty. I don't feel any dents and ripples too bad. Little spot there, like I said. But I think I'm ready for the finishing putty. You know, I think that's what I'm going to put on there. Need a little bit here too, a little bit up here. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to run around this thing. It'd be nice if I could work each patch one at a time. But the thing is, I'm going to be mixing up enough putty. I want to have enough places prepared to stick it on so that I'm not winding up wasting a bunch. You know what I mean? If I mix up a bunch, I always have someplace else to throw some more if I mix up more than I need for this one spot. So that's what I'm gonna do, work on that for right now, and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay guys, so I put another layer of putty on this too. I use a glazing putty on this, so it's really smooth. This really seems like it's gonna be good, and I'm gonna sand that out with some 80 grit. And I also did the same thing on this side, and I started sanding with some 80 grit, but I thought I'd change my paper. And I'm gonna finish sanding that out nice and smooth. I've got this block here, the same one I was using for doing the 220 on the primer surfacer, so I'm gonna do that. Hey guys, really appreciate you guys watching. If you like this channel, go ahead and like, subscribe, share it with your friends, get it out there a little bit. Thanks. So back to sanding. Wow, it's really gripping. All right, now I'm gonna give it another quick hit with some 220. Seems like there's a bump right there. I'll have to do something with that. I don't like it. Probably should have done something earlier. I do feel it's like a bump. Well, let's check that out. So I keep finding little flaws, and this here's another flaw. It's where it's just like a raised spot in the steel. Now I can barely feel it. I don't know if I let it go, and then that's leaving that edge there. So when I go across it with a solid block, it's high here, and that makes that low. So if I tap that down a little bit, maybe I'll be able to sand that out without adding a bunch of putty. Let me give that a try. Here we go, a little body hammer work even after there's putty on it. But what am I gonna do? Ooh. That flattened it out. I don't know why it was raised there, so now I'll try sanding it and see what happens. A little more sanding. Boy, this turns into a lot of work. Now I got a dent. But that's okay, because you know what? It won't take much to fill that. You go over it again with a little bit of fill. Just a smidgen. I gotta mix more anyway, so that'll be better. It'll be better. I know it's crazy pounding on it after I already did body work, but like I always say, you gotta do what you gotta do. But I think I got rid of those dents all the way up through. Looking better. Okay, it looks like more of the same on this side of the car. Good, what's going on here? Still looks good. No ripples, feels smooth. I really blew up the whole bad Chad method, didn't I? Little low spot there, very slight. I think for the most part I got it. Over here it's a little weird. Little rough, little low. Slight little touch fill there, slight little touch of fill there. Guess the next step to mix up a little bit more of that spot putty and get it on here and just fill this out a little bit. I can feel that. That's all I feel though. Everything else feels pretty good. But that spot I can feel. So gotta blow that off, clean it out, and putty. If you stuck around this long, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching this video. See you guys on the next one.